We're back. Segment 2, Golden Black Live. Steve Zimmerman to my right, Kyle Charters to my other right, no, my far right. And we're talking Purdue facilities, and Steve is happy to get away from Dodge, at least for a few minutes, I would guess, just because of all the things that are going on in Mackey Arena. Those of you that were at the men's game on Tuesday night got a sneak peek of what I'm amazed, and that is the fact of how fast this has all come together. You've had the proverbial plan, but to get as much done as in that facility over the last couple of weeks has been unbelievable, and it's all coming to fruition.
It really is, Alan, and the last 2 weeks have been very intense in terms of the amount of work that needed to be done and actually got done. So it has been impressive, and what a beautiful facility in the end. I likened this a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to a group to sort of like baking a cake. You know, you spend that time in the mixing bowl putting it all together in design and so on, and then you stick it in the oven, and you've got all these construction guys around forever. And then finally, you know, it comes out of the oven, and you're almost done, but it really doesn't look finished till you get the icing on it. And these last couple of weeks, they've really been putting the icing on. And it's just amazing how the facility has ended up. We're just immensely proud of it.
Good.
Just you've made quite a push here in the last couple months, and specifically, like you said, putting the icing on here for the last couple of weeks. Just what kind of effort has that entailed to really get this done up to the wire?
Yeah, it's been really, really amazing, Kyle, because we've had a lot of the infrastructure in Mackey that we had to just completely pull out in order to do the renovation. And I'm talking about electrical cabling, electronics, the TV cabling that's used to do the network TV, both in-house and when it's sent out across the networks. The sound system, everything was disconnected this last summer. And we put all that back together. So about a week ago, we did what we called an all systems test, where we thought we had everything back together. Brought in actually a TV truck, hooked it up, tried the systems all out, found a few things that were not working properly, had a week to make adjustments and so on, get that back together. So that was a major thing for us that we had a lot of concern about, because we knew that once we started playing games, we weren't going to have much of a chance to make an adjustment. We had to get that right before we ever started. And then in addition to that, the Ring of Honor, which is the newly decorated parts that have the museum pieces, the artifacts from Mackey's history, and all the pieces about teams and coaches and so on. That's been something that we've had to wait until the very last minute to install, because there are a lot of electronics involved in that. It's not things that you want sitting around collecting dust and that kind of thing. So that's been something that we've done right at the very last minute. And we're actually still working to put the very final touches on that before our dedication game on the 11th of November.
And I know that Tom Schott and Jim Brugink have done a lot dealing with that case by case to get that done. A question from Danny Tanner, speaking of the Mackey renovations. His comment was it looked absolutely beautiful when he was in town last week, but what about the practice court? People will see that, and that's not finished, but it never was planned to be finished. But talk about the practice court, which is a little bit on the north side of the facility, and the timetable for that.
You're right, Alan. According to the construction schedule, it was never slated to be done at this time, and the coaches and the teams have known that for quite some time. What we were really focused on the last several months was getting the competition court done, getting all those areas done that our fans and spectators will see and interact with and be in when we start playing basketball. The practice court, which by the way is named after Brian and Danielle Cardinal, and thanks to their generous contribution for that. But that practice court has always been slated to be finished in January at the start of the second semester. And so both men's and women's team will have access to that about the end of that first week in January when the second semester starts up. It'll be completely ready to go. And that includes as well the administrative offices that are directly above that space on the third floor. Those will also finish that same time.
Steve, we talked a lot about it before, just about you know, how a basketball game can be more of an event now for a fan rather than just a game. You know, people can come early, have access to many more, the Ring of Honor, club sections, just a whole host of things. Just talk about sort of what the goal was there in creating sort of an event for basketball games.
Well, it really is an event now, Kyle, and you know that as well as anyone. But certainly we've tried to add the kinds of amenities that have become an expectation to basketball fans all across the country. And we've seen this for several years in some of the venues that are available throughout the Big Ten, with the Bryce Jordan Center, the Breslin Center, the Kohl Center, and Schottenstein, and so on. So we've always had a goal in mind that we could rival those facilities and create something that was just as nice right here in West Lafayette. So we've been able to add some premium seat and club spaces that are available for those fans who buy into that kind of an atmosphere and that kind of an experience. And so we've got those available. We've also got the area that we call the West Club, which does not require any kind of a premium seat license to go into. Anyone who comes to a basketball game, buys a ticket, and enters the arena can get into that space. And it's been set up sort of like an ESPN zone sort of atmosphere, with lots of TVs, graphics on the wall, concessions foods that you can buy. They're a little bit upscaled from the normal concessions and so on. So it is a fun atmosphere that you can get into. You couple that with the Ring of Honor that also anyone who buys a ticket has access to, simply by walking around the concourse and getting into those interactive spaces, touch screens and things that you can pull up with rosters of the more famous teams and individual statistics about famous players like Rick Mount and Joe Barry Carroll and some things like that. Just really make it fun and really make it something that's special when you come to a game.
Question about, and we talked a little bit about this offline or off air, but some opportunity also for fans, John Purdue Club members, but also fans to come in and tour the facility starting not this coming week, but the week after the dedication game. Maybe take us through a little bit of that schedule as you know it.
Well, it really is, and I can't get into the details on it, Alan, because I don't know which groups are on which specific days. But as you said, following that dedication game on 11/11, almost every day that following week we have specific tours with different groups that include premium seat holders, John Purdue Club members. There are days when we take just community members through. If someone's interested in coming in on that particular day, they're eligible as well to take a tour through the facility. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I actually, because Steve has got other things on his mind to memorize, and it's Monday the 14th, 3 to 5, the Spurgeon Club, John Purdue Club members and Purdue University faculty, and some other groups that can be part of that. Then Tuesday the 15th, Purdue University students, Hills and Dales residents, and then the one that's open to the public, 5 to 7 p.m., because we had a question about it being in the middle of the afternoon. Well, it's not. On the 16th, that's Wednesday the 16th, the Spurgeon Club, the entire community and committee can come and see the facility as well. So again, those 3 dates, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and PurdueSports.com has that specific information as well. You put the key to doing a project like this, I'm sure, is doing the proverbial timeline and trying to make sure you get everything done in sequential order. One of the things also is interesting and still interesting to me is the fact that you're going to still do a major renovation inside of Mackey Arena after this year by putting in another tunnel, and that all the pieces had to go in place properly to be able to get that done. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's correct, Alan, and of course we did the reseating this year because of the premium seating piece, but we made an allowance for that in terms of the way tickets were sold and so on. There will be another tunnel cut at the opposite end of the floor. Everybody's been used to seeing that one tunnel entrance we have where both the Purdue team and the visiting team come through that same tunnel. That's always been a little bit of point of contention for us and a little bit of a concern in terms of the brand of basketball we play and some of the competitions that we get into. Tempers can flare, and when you bring both teams off the floor through the same small space, you always worry just a little bit about that. And Big Ten has asked us a lot of times about that. You know, when can you do something to fix it? Well, this is our opportunity. and we're going to take the opportunity to fix it. Now, the second tunnel entrance actually does a couple of things for us, really. It gets rid of that issue with the two teams entering the same way. At the end of the project, in June of 2012, the visiting team locker room will be relocated to the other end of the floor, Mackey Arena. There'll be a new tunnel entrance cut there. They will be able to go directly out and in of that tunnel entrance. Their locker room and the coach's locker room for visiting teams will be right at the head of that tunnel entrance, and so they'll have a quick on and quick off kind of deal for getting in and off the floor for games. But the other thing that it does is it also gives us an entrance that's directly adjacent to a very large freight elevator in our shipping, receiving, and marshaling area. So that if we reach a point in time where we want to do multiple events in Mackey Arena, potentially summertime concerts or other kinds of programs, we can get staging, we can get vehicles in and out of the shipping receiving area off that large freight elevator, an elevator large enough to carry a pickup truck up and down from one level to another in Mackey. And we can load all those supplies and materials in and out directly onto the floor. And so it gives us a lot more capability in terms of multi-use within the facility.
Yeah.
Now here's my concern, and I say this mostly tongue-in-cheek. Together We Attack has been painted over in the tunnel. Will it return?
Well, you know, that's entirely a team thing, Kyle, so that's a question you're going to need to ask Coach Painter.
All right. I did notice that, though. That's
You're not the only one that noticed it.
It's funny because, again, I was in there, came in a late Sunday afternoon a week ago, and that had still not been painted. Came back 2 days later. Everything was nicely put together, and it's just been amazing to watch all that go. And it is interesting how people have certain parts of the old facility that you're going to hear that no matter all the money that has been spent and what you've tried to bring, there'll be something that somebody's not just Kyle, but that will have. They'll always be. And isn't it great when they always feel really comfortable enough to bring those kind of questions after you've worked these last several years on this project?
Well, and you know, Alan, that's one of the things that has really been fun about doing a renovation as compared to just building an entire new building. You do get to hang on to some of those things that are you know, staples of the team and of the kind of branding that you built over the years. So we've tried to do that, and there are a number of things like that we've tried to preserve, but we've also tried to add some things that will give it its own image and be something that our current day fans that don't remember all those kinds of old traditions and so on can build on as well.
All right, well, Steve, we're going to let you now. You have to go back down there for a few more days.
Back to the torture.
And actually, I know it hasn't, because I know one thing Morgan Burke has said constantly. He said, "I'm not going to worry about this until I see certain other people sweat." You were probably one of the people that you were for the litmus test on that front. So
some people might be interested, including myself, in baseball. Just can you bring us up to date on maybe the soccer and baseball stuff that's going on out Northwest?
Yeah.
Certainly, I would love to, Kyle. The Northwest Athletics site's really coming along well. Of course, we played soccer in the soccer venue this year. We had the new lights. Everyone could kind of see the new building as it progressed in the background. It continues to progress. We're to the point where the roof's on. Most of the masonry on the outside of the building is done. It'll be closed in and be able to be built out on the inside through the winter months. And so soccer should be ready to go actually fairly early next spring. With regard to baseball, of course, the outfield fence is in. The field drainage is now in. Within another week, we expect to begin to put sod on the baseball field itself. So you'll see some green out there, hopefully by the end of next week. And they've begun to put in the concrete treads and risers that the bleachers will be mounted on. They've got foundations in now for the team facility in terms of the team locker rooms, clubhouse meeting area, and the new hitting and pitching facility. That'll be a year-round facility for the baseball team. So really making a lot of progress out there. And we have no doubt at this particular time that we'll hit our overall completion date for that facility, which is actually June 1 of 2012. But we're also holding on to the fact that we expect to play some baseball games there this summer, or this coming spring. It will not be ready at the beginning of the season, but our target is to have it ready for Big Ten games. So we hope to be playing our first Big Ten game in that new stadium.
And I'm really glad that Kyle didn't ask anything about the creature comforts in the broadcast booth. Since we know it will be warmer for him, and we're glad.
A little more
for that.
spacious.
Yeah, a little more spacious and all that. But I think it would be fascinating to watch that all come to pass. Steve, thanks again so much for your time today, and we'll look forward to next Friday night, the men in the rededication of Mackey Arena. Saturday, Purdue football, obviously. Sunday, the women come and play their portion of the dedication weekend in Mackey Arena. So stay tuned for a couple of minutes. We'll take a couple-minute break, bring in Brian Newbert, and we can start all the Gary Harris questions you can ask. And we'll also bring in Dan Durking. We'll have a very special segment with Dan Durking and talk about a little bit about Sean Maddie as well. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a couple of minutes on Gold and Black Live.
Just one night. One team victorious. The story behind the score. The rivalries. The big plays. From the sidelines to you. On the air, online. Are you ready for the frenzy? Friday Night Frenzy. High school football from where you live.
Check out the Purdue collection now at Follett's. Boiler up with Nike Fantastic T-shirts, League and Champion fashion colors. Simply fabulous, simply Follett's. Purdue pride everywhere on game day. Nike sideline, worn by the team, by the players, and by you. And make every day game day with tailgate toss. Follett's, Purdue pride, a Purdue tradition, 17 game day locations.
West Point Steakhouse is a family-owned restaurant known for premium quality steaks. Open for dinner Thursday through Saturday. Stop by for the Thursday night prime rib special or Friday and Saturday night specials like pasta and seafood. Be sure to come and enjoy all the food and fun at West Point Steakhouse.
You can now get a quote or buy car insurance 24 hours a day. Call me, State Farm Agent Trent Johnson, at 743-9595 and see how much money you can save today.
Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
When you see it happen, report it. Send us your news stories, photos, and videos with our Report It feature. It's easy with WLFI.com and the WLFI smartphone app. With a few simple clicks, you can send videos and photos of breaking news coverage. See your submissions on air as part of our broadcast or online in the Report It gallery. WLFI.com. Always mobile, always connected.
Welcome back, Golden Black Live, segment 3. Our sponsors, Hilton Garden Inn, State Farm agent Trent Johnson, Follett's, and of course West Point Steakhouse. And Brian, we're going to bring in Dan Dierking here, former Purdue running back. It's hard to believe Dan, we'd say calling Dan former, but we got him on a little bit of a break on his new job at Caterpillar. But we also will take some questions on the question of the week. Gary Harris, but I want to get your thoughts on tomorrow's game too, as well. Real quick on what you see. I know everybody is saying the Boilermakers are swimming upstream, but any other new light you can shed on this football game tomorrow?
No, I think I'm pretty much part of everybody. I mean, I just have a hard time seeing how Purdue's going to match up against that offense. I mean, what do you do against that offense? Wisconsin's always been able to run the ball really, really physically, and right now, Purdue's defense, first of all, they're not the most physical defense in the country anyway, but right now their situation at defensive end, I don't want to make that big a deal out of it because it's only part of the defense, but they're going to be really vulnerable in the corners, I'd have to assume, and if Wisconsin gets the edges with any sort of consistency, then they can just keep running the ball over and over again. And when you've got that to deal with, and then all of a sudden you've got this quarterback who's one of the best players in the country, who can do it with his legs and certainly do it with his arms, or his arm.
One arm, I think.
Yeah. I just don't know what you do against that offense. I mean, they've got gigantic receivers that it's going to be hard for Purdue to match up against. They've just got a matchup problem everywhere across the field against that offense. And then if that offense is going to score like we expect it to, you know, they're averaging 45 points a game, can Purdue keep up? If Purdue is going to score any points at all, it has to be able to run the ball. And it couldn't run the ball last week against Michigan, and I think it stands to reason to suggest this is at least as good a defense as the one Purdue saw last weekend in Ann Arbor. So I just don't see it, I guess. Okay. So.
Now, I know we got a guy on the line right now that I'll bet does see it for his former team, and that's Dan Dierking. Dan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm glad we are glad you're here and taking a little bit of time off of your this is your new job, I assume. It's been relatively, you haven't been with Cat for all that long.
Right, yeah, this is about week 2, so trying to take everything in stride right now.
Yeah, and so you get 6 minutes off here. That's the deal. But
yep.
Talk about a little bit about, and I certainly want to get to Sean Maddie and the special project that you've been working on with it. But talk a little bit about what you've seen out of the Purdue football team this year. You know, you've experienced it last year as well, the ups and downs of a Big Ten football season, and yet. Give us the reasons why you think Purdue can compete favorably tomorrow at Camp Randall.
Right. I'm still real involved with the football team. All my roommates still play, like Joe Holland and Nick Mondek. So you know those guys are positive going into this game. And I don't know if you guys remember, but last year we were beating Wisconsin, who was a Rose Bowl team. We were beating them in the third quarter, and I would argue that they had more firepower last year with J.J. Watt and players of his caliber. So, you know what, there's always a chance. Purdue needs to come out strong, and like Brian said, they need to run the ball effectively. And I don't know why we couldn't do that with such a backfield, such as Ralph Bolden and Akeem Shavers. So I think we got a chance, and that's all you need sometimes.
You know, you look at what's going on with that offense and Ralph Bolden being back full speed, or pretty close to full speed, but also the quarterback situation, and you've obviously had been around Caleb Terbush and Robert Marve. Right. Tell us from a player's perspective just what it takes to deal with the psyche of having two guys. I mean, Purdue had two guys last year that it rotated in, partly because of necessity. But what is that a big deal to players, or is it something that you just kind of get used to because that's the way it is?
Yeah, I think last year we just kind of got used to it because, like you said, we rotated a bunch of quarterbacks in because of necessity, because of injuries. This year they're rotating two guys in because they both have a different set of skills, and they both do different things well. I think it was Jay Paterno that said if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any. But I would disagree in a situation like this where Caleb's kind of coming into his own and getting better each week, and you still have Robert Marve, who's a great weapon. So, you know what, I don't mind that they're rotating in two quarterbacks, and I know Coach Hope knows what he's doing with those two.
One of the important reasons why we have you here today, and one of the most difficult situations I'm sure has happened in your life with losing a friend, Sean Maddie, this summer in a drowning accident over the July 4th weekend. But in difficulty, some good things can come. A lot of people have come together for a very special thing, and you've got some ways also to raise money for the family with some T-shirts. But tell us a little bit about that and your involvement, and a little bit about Sean too, because obviously when you lose a friend at that age, it's extremely difficult. But by the same token, Sean's spirit is living on.
Right. For those of you who didn't know Sean, he's just a great guy, hard worker. Battled a lot of injuries throughout his career and never complained about it. He'd go through his rehab and get back out on the practice field as soon as he could. He was a walk-on, so obviously he was in this because he loved the game of football, and that was fun to see every day in practice. But the Maddies, the Purdue Athletic Department, and some of us players, we designed a shirt, and we've convinced a couple stores to carry these shirts. University Spirit, Chauncey Hill, Tippecanoe Mall, and Purdue West. And all these stores are carrying these T-shirts for $14. All the proceeds go to the Sean Maddie Fund. And I know we would all really appreciate it, not just to donate to the Sean Maddie Fund, but to support Sean's memory and embrace a great Purdue football player.
And, you know, you look at that situation and all that comes from that, and the fact that the team kind of is part of this, and he had so many friends that are still playing, and some that just recently graduated as well, like yourself. What do you hope to accomplish outside of just raising as much money as you can, obviously, but what other things do you think can be a byproduct of this difficult time?
We're just trying to keep the memory of Sean Maddie alive, and to keep us reminded of his work ethic and what a great person he was. And I know a lot of guys on the field right now are playing in his honor, so I think that's great to kind of keep Sean in our minds and in our hearts, and I think that's what we'd like to accomplish with these T-shirts.
All right, well, I know they're at University Spirit. I think they're also at the Follett stores, and if people want information about them, they can also contact us at goldandblack.com, and we'll make sure that we get you information on where you can go to support this cause. We do have one question for you from somebody that on chat here, talking about what happened to Wheaton Warrensville South this year without any Dirkings on the team.
Yeah, I know. My little brother won a state championship his senior year. I won one my senior year, but Wheaton South is a little down this year, but I think they still tied for the conference, so you can never count them out. Coach Muhich over there, unbelievable coach, and he'll get things turned around.
Well, tell us what you're doing also with what your day job is, and what is Caterpillar have you in terms of this is your first real gig. I know you did some coaching also with Don Collar at Frontier, but talk about what's keeping you busy during the day.
Yeah, I am a new manager over here. I'm in charge of the back half of the factory, and so right now I'm just going through training and trying to learn everything. I'm a human sponge right now, just trying to soak in all this information. But yeah, I'm a manager, second shift, and I'm excited to get started at my new job.
Dan, hey, it's Brian.
Hey.
It's my understanding you were Don Collar's offensive coordinator this year. Is that right?
Yeah. We split that responsibility, but yeah, I was involved with the offense.
Did you call the halfback pass?
Wow.
That hurt. That's cold.
Yeah, geez, low blows over the radio, but no, we did not call the halfback pass. If it was my choice, we'd call that a couple times a game, because actually our halfback was our former quarterback over at Frontier, so. That would have worked, but no, we didn't run it.
What was it like getting into coaching? I mean, is that something you might want to do in your future?
Yeah, definitely. Once I got released from the Bears, I was looking for a way to stay involved with football, because, like I said, all my roommates are still playing, and they were at practice all day long. So Don Collier, who was the quality control guy over at Purdue for the longest time, gave me a call, asked if I wanted to come out there, and I never really had any aspirations to go into coaching, but once I got out there, I really enjoyed it. The kids out there are unbelievable, and we had a blast. We didn't win that many games, but we had a great time out there, and I learned a lot from those kids, and hopefully they learned a little bit from me.
All right. Well, hey,
Thanks a lot, Dan.
Dan, thanks so much. And as someone old enough to remember when your dad tried to throw the ball once and it didn't turn out too well either. We all.
The Turkeys are 0 for 2 with 2 interceptions on a halfback pass. So.
Yeah, but the Durking legacy is very safe, and the great part of that legacy is the effort that both of you guys brought to this football program, and I know that you're proud of that, and you should be. But thanks so much. Good luck in the job, and keep us posted on anything we can do on the Sean Maddie front as well to help the family out.
All right, thanks for having me on.
All right, sounds good.
Dan.
Thanks again, Dan. Well, Brian, we'll get back to answering some questions on the topic of the week, and that, of course, is Gary Harris, and we've been kind of backlogging all those, but I don't want to ask you what's the to-the-minute situation, because nothing's really changed.
Yeah,
he's probably in a car heading up to East Lansing right now, but we're not tracking him by helicopter, I promise you. But tell us a little about that.
He's actually got a football game tonight.
That's
so
right.
He's
He's
going
gotta
up
play.
there till tonight or tomorrow.
Going to play in the playoffs.
But one way or another, he's getting up there this weekend. Obviously, I've said this about every visit he's taken because it's true. It's a pivotal weekend for his process of finally deciding where he's going to go to school. And this has been kind of made up into something out of the ordinary that he's taken all these trips and is going right down to signing day. This is how it's designed to be done. Kids are allowed to take 5 visits. He's taken 4, and guys don't have to decide until it's time to sign. So because everybody else in that class made an early commitment somewhere, all those kids committed early to Purdue, all those kids committed early to Indiana, pretty much everybody in the state, the class of 2012, decided before their junior year, or certainly well in advance of their senior year. He's kind of the only one left. So there's been all this scrutiny on him, obviously, which is kind of what the whole recruiting process has come to, with all the attention on it now. But be that as it may, this is pretty much it now. Signing day, the signing period starts Wednesday. I don't know when he's going to decide, if he's going to decide as soon as he comes back from Michigan State, if he's going to take a couple days or what. I don't know if he's going to sign somewhere on Wednesday. He will sign during the early signing period. That means sometime between next Wednesday, or this upcoming Wednesday, and next Wednesday, he will sign with somebody. Exactly when, we don't know, but this is a big visit for him. Throughout the process, Michigan State's been one of the real constants there. They got in on him early. They built a very good relationship with him and his family. A couple of months ago, a lot of people would have thought Michigan State would have been the place. I think right now Purdue is in a really good spot. I think, personally, I think that it's down to Purdue and Michigan State. In practical terms, whether or not that's what's actually going on inside the household, I don't know, but I think it'll be one of those two. So do a lot of other people. Right now, if he had to sign right now, I think it would be Purdue. Obviously, he hasn't visited Michigan State yet, so there's a big asterisk next to me saying that. But I think this is a really important visit in the sense that, Michigan State's further from home than Purdue. I think that's a factor. I don't know if it's a deal breaker. He's probably has more of a background with Purdue's players than he does Michigan State's, obviously, because at Purdue you've got all these in-state guys he already knows. At Michigan State, he really has to feel comfortable with the player. So that's what's really important about this weekend. That's what's been important about all his visits, is how he fits in with the guys on the team now, how he fits in with all the guys he's going to be playing with in college. So that might be the telltale factor here in his recruitment, how well he gets along with the guys up in Michigan State.
Yeah, and again, it'll be it is a lot riding on this, but yet this is a situation too that could potentially, if it works out for Purdue, there's obviously other implications just because of the caliber of player that Gary Harris is.
Absolutely. If Purdue doesn't get him, then a year ago they had no chance at him. So practically speaking, he's kind of found money if you get him. But if they do get him, I mean, it would be absolutely enormous for the program. It would kind of make that statement that Purdue can get a kid that good. It can get a kid that good in its home state. This has obviously been very publicized because of Indiana's involvement. Anytime Indiana's in on a kid this good in this state, it's going to be nuts because there's so much IU support in this state that there's going to be so much emphasis on that kid and so much attention on that kid. So be that as it may, if Purdue gets him, not only would it be Purdue getting a great player, it would be kind of a dig at IU in a sense, and it would just add to the magnitude of the get for Purdue. Plus, with the 4 other guys Purdue has committed, it would make for one of the best recruiting classes in the country. Certainly one of the best Purdue's ever gotten. And then the 2013 class is very good too. So you look at where the program is right now. Robbie Hummel leaving after this year. E'Twaun Moore, Jawan Johnson having left after last season. So now you're kind of going from all your marquee players from this little era of success Purdue's had the last couple of years being handed off to all this great talent coming in next. So it's almost like this kind of natural progression of things to keep the program going.
Okay, well, we are not going to give you Brian's cell number so that you can text him every half hour to find out what's going on, because I think one of the things we're going to wait and find out how this all comes to pass. All right, we're down to our last couple minutes in the show. Talk about the exhibition game, obviously, on Tuesday night. What did you see? Obviously, you talked about it in your blog and on Game Day Live, but what did you see from, what were your overall impressions from Purdue's, the men's first effort Tuesday night?
Well, I don't know if anything in particular really jumped out as something Purdue did really well. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, because this is a team that's relatively new, and you just didn't want to see them have any glaring deficiencies in the game. Obviously, they didn't do very well rebounding. They didn't shoot the ball very well, but I think those are things that are correctable. I think through the course of time, the rebounding will improve, and they're obviously going to make shots. These are guys who can all make shots at some point in time. They're gonna. I think the big takeaway from this is that Robbie Hummel looked good. Obviously, this wasn't Ohio State they were playing. This wasn't Michigan State they were playing, but he showed flashes of being his old self. This is going to be a process for him. He's not going to be what he was right away. He's going to have to play his way into it, I think. And I thought the first game was a good step in the right direction, especially the way he crashed the offensive boards early, especially the way he took some people off the dribble, made a couple threes, had a 4-point play. I thought you saw flashes of what he's been and what he can be. I think he just kind of has to, the more games he plays, the better he's going to get. So I think that was probably the real positive in it. Travis Carroll played very well. Anthony Johnson played very well. But really the one guy you focus on is Robbie Hummel. All
right. Well, we will have football tomorrow. Brian will make his way to Camp Randall. And, of course, the women play 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, Mackey Arena. The men turn around, come back and play at 5 o'clock as the men play their second and final exhibition game. All right, well, we want to thank you for staying over a couple minutes today on Gold and Black Live. We are working on getting Chris Kramer to join us via Skype from Germany either next week or the following week. We also may have a show kind of dedicated to recruiting, depending on how things go. We just don't know exactly how, when Gary Harris makes his announcement, whether that will be next week as well. So we'll just kind of, as per usual on this show, we'll be nimble. That's what we're going to try to be. As much as anything. We want to thank our sponsors, and of course that's State Farm agent Trent Johnson, Follett's Purdue bookstores, and of course our Purdue's Game Day headquarters since 1945, Hilton Garden Inn, and of course West Point Steakhouse. Thanks to Gordon Jackson, to Patsy, and to Brandon for all your help today. We will look forward to seeing you next week on Gold and Black Live.